Right, listen up, we're talking car safety here, and it's a bit of a passion of mine. You see, cars these days are like rolling fortresses compared to their ancestors. Back in the day, a minor fender bender could leave you looking like you'd tangled with a threshing machine. But fear not. The march of progress has brought about some rather clever innovations in the realm of car safety. No longer do we have to rely on luck and a stiff upper lip to survive a crash. We've got airbags, crumple zones, and electronics that would make a NASA engineer blush. Now, some might say, James, all this safety stuff is taking the fun out of driving. To them, I say, poppycock. I enjoy a spirited drive as much as the next chap, but I'd rather arrive in one piece, thank you very much. So buckle up as we delve into the fascinating world of car safety, where we'll compare the crashworthiness of old bangers and modern marvels. Let's start with the basics, the car's structure itself. Early cars were essentially metal boxes on wheels, not exactly ideal for impact absorption, you see. They crumpled like a biscuit in a brawl, transferring all that nasty energy straight to the occupants. Ouch! Modern cars, however, are engineered with crumple zones. These are sections designed to deform in a controlled manner upon impact. Think of them as giant shock absorbers, absorbing the force of the crash and protecting the precious cargo inside. That's you, by the way. And it's not just about crumpling. Modern cars use high-strength steel alloys in their construction. This makes them incredibly strong and rigid, creating a safety cage that protects the passenger compartment. It's like being inside a metal cocoon, rather than a tin can. So, in a nutshell, modern cars are designed to crumple where it's safe and stay strong where it matters. This is a fundamental difference from their older counterparts, and it's a key reason why you're more likely to walk away from a crash in a newer vehicle. Now, you can't talk about car safety without mentioning crash tests. These are the dramatic spectacles where cars are smashed, bashed, and generally put through the ringer to see how they hold up. Early crash tests were, shall we say, rudimentary. They often involved rolling cars down hills or crashing them into brick walls. Not exactly scientific, but it gave engineers a basic understanding of how cars behaved in a collision. These days, crash tests are a high-tech affair. We're talking sensors, dummies with more instruments than a symphony orchestra, and high-speed cameras capturing every millisecond of the impact. The data collected is then used to improve car design and ultimately save lives. And the results speak for themselves. Modern cars consistently outperform their older counterparts in crash tests. They absorb impact better, protect occupants more effectively, and are far less likely to turn into metal pretzels upon impact. Section 5. Airbags, your personal safety bubble. Airbags, those inflatable wonders that have saved countless lives. Remember when we used to rely on the steering wheel to cushion our impact in a crash? Good times. Airbags are essentially sophisticated balloons that deploy in a fraction of a second during a collision. They provide a cushioning layer between you and the hard bits of the car, like the steering wheel, dashboard, or, heaven forbid, the windshield. Early airbags were rather primitive, often deploying with such force that they posed a risk in themselves. Modern airbags, however, are marvels of engineering. They use sensors to determine the severity of the impact and adjust their deployment force accordingly. Some even have multiple stages of inflation, providing the right level of protection at the right time. And they're not just for the driver anymore. Modern cars have front airbags, side airbags, knee airbags, and even curtain airbags that drop down from the roof to protect your precious noggin in a side impact. It's like being surrounded by a cocoon of inflatable safety. Section 6. Electronic Angels Stability Control and ABS. Right, let's talk about two of the most significant advancements in car safety: electronic stability control and anti-lock braking systems, or ESC and ABS for short. Now I know what you're thinking. James, those sound terribly complicated and dull, but bear with me because these systems are lifesavers. Imagine you're driving along a rain-slicked road and suddenly you hit a patch of oil. The back end of the car starts to swing out. In the old days, you'd be wrestling the steering wheel, praying for a miracle. But with ESC, the car senses the skid and automatically applies the brakes to individual wheels, helping you regain control. It's like having an invisible driving instructor glued to your bumper, keeping you on the straight and narrow. Now, ABS is your best friend when you need to slam on the brakes. Remember those heart-stopping moments when you hit the brakes hard and the car just skids, refusing to stop? ABS prevents that by rapidly pumping the brakes, allowing you to maintain steering control while braking hard. These electronic nannies might seem intrusive, but trust me, they're the reason why many accidents don't happen in the first place. They're like guardian angels, working tirelessly to keep you safe on the road. Section 7. Case in point, when safety features save the day. Now, I'm not one for hyperbole, but sometimes you need real-life stories to illustrate a point. And when it comes to car safety, the evidence is overwhelming. Take the story of Sarah, a young woman who walked away from a horrific crash with barely a scratch. She was driving her modern hatchback home one evening when a distracted driver ran a red light, T-boning her car at speed. The impact was brutal, crumpling the front end of her car like an accordion. Yet Sarah emerged from the wreckage shaken but unharmed. Why? Because her car, despite being significantly smaller than the offending SUV, had a rigid passenger cell, crumple zones that absorbed the impact force, and a full complement of airbags that deployed in a symphony of controlled explosions. This isn't an isolated incident. Countless stories illustrate the effectiveness of modern safety features. From high-speed collisions to rollovers, these advancements are making the difference between life and death, or at the very least between walking away and being carried away on a stretcher. Section 8. The price of progress. Are new cars really safer? Now, you might be thinking, James, this all sounds rather expensive. And you wouldn't be wrong. Modern cars, with their high-tech safety features, don't come cheap. But, and this is a big but, can you really put a price on safety? Think of it this way. Would you rather buy a cheaper, older car with minimal safety features and risk becoming a human projectile in a crash? Or would you rather invest in a modern car that's designed to protect you like a suit of armor? It's a no-brainer, really. And let's not forget the peace of mind that comes with knowing you're driving a car that's been engineered to keep you safe. That, my friends, is priceless. Of course, I understand that not everyone can afford the latest and greatest in automotive safety. But even if you're driving an older car, there are things you can do to improve your odds in a crash. Section 9. Beyond the crash, the future of car safety. Looking ahead, the future of car safety is positively dazzling. We're talking about cars that can practically drive themselves, avoiding accidents before they even happen. Autonomous emergency braking, lane keeping assist, blind spot monitoring. These are just a few of the technologies already making their way into modern cars. And it's not just about avoiding crashes. Car manufacturers are also working on technologies to mitigate the severity of accidents. Think of advanced crumple zones that adapt to the type of impact, or even external airbags that deploy milliseconds before a collision to cushion the blow. It's a brave new world of car safety, and I, for one, am all for it. Because let's face it, driving can be a risky business. But with the right technology, we can minimize those risks and make our roads safer for everyone. Section 10. Buckle up, the final word on safety. So there you have it. A whirlwind tour of car safety, from the flimsy death traps of yesteryear to the high-tech fortresses on wheels we have today. The evidence is clear. Modern cars are infinitely safer than their predecessors. But remember, even the safest car in the world is only as good as the person behind the wheel. So buckle up, pay attention, and drive like your life depends on it. Because it does. And on that note, I'm off to find a cup of tea and contemplate the marvels of modern engineering. Stay safe out there.